morning, this is Pastor Blake, and thank you for joining me as we continue through the Psalms. We're at Psalm 133, and this is a psalm that it will be somewhat familiar to many of you, I believe. You'll hear these words. It's a short psalm, but before we get into it, I want you to see right underneath Psalm 133, it'll say a song of ascent. In the last time we were together, I shared with you these psalms from 120 to 134 were psalms that typically were sung or recited as the people would come to Jerusalem. They would ascend to Jerusalem, which is in a mountain, for those 3 annual festivals that all Jews were supposed to come. All Jewish males, if there's any way possible, were supposed to come. So this is one of those psalms. So hear the words of this brief psalm. How good and pleasant it is when God's people live together in unity. It is like precious oil poured on the head, running down on the beard, running down on Aaron's beard, down on the collar of his robe. It is as if the dew of Hermon, that's a mountain in the north, it's as if the dew of Hermon were falling on Mount Zion, for there the Lord bestows his blessing, even life forevermore. So there is the one big idea, which is how good and pleasant it is when God's people live together in unity. And then there's 2 metaphors that kind of help us understand a way of looking at the beauty of when God's people live together in unity. So I have to just tell you that when I read this, I kind of chuckled to myself because during these times of festival, Jerusalem, which would have been a busy city, becomes an outrageously busy city, maybe 3, 4, 5 times its original size. And you can just imagine all of these people who are coming for this festival. They're bumping into each other and they're trying to find a shortage of spaces of where they can stay. And it's in this context, this song of ascents, that they are singing and saying how beautiful, how good it is when God's people live together in unity. And so there's a part of me that kind of chuckles at that, but I love the fact that it's not saying, well, when you're a monk with 2 other monks off in a monastery, can you get along? It's in the real day-to-day hustle and bustle of life that we're being called to live together in unity. The first picture is that of the oil on Aaron. So it says it's like precious oil poured on the head, running down on the beard, running down on Aaron's beard, on the collar of his robe. So that's taking us back to the ordination scene of Aaron. So Aaron would have been Moses' brother. He would have been the first priest under the Mosaic covenant. And the way he would have been set apart would have been, they would have poured oil on him. So this imagery of saying that when God's people are together in unity, it's like Aaron being ordained, being set apart as a priest. It's saying something about how the unity of God's people represents God. That's what a priest did. A priest was God's representative. And so when we live together in unity, when God's people live together in unity, it's like the beauty of God saying, these are my people. These are the people who represent me. Jesus comes to this exact same idea when he prays what is known as the high priest prayer in John 17. And he's praying about you and me. He's been praying about his original disciples. Then at this point in the prayer, John 17, verse 21, he says, he's praying to the Father. He says, my prayer in verse 20 is not for these disciples alone. I'm praying for those who believe in me through their message. That's you and I. Verse 21, that all of them may be one. Father, just as you are in me and I am in you, may they also be in us, so that the world may believe that you have sent me. Here Jesus is saying that our unity, our community, is one of the ways in which, maybe the primary way in which Jesus is glorified. He's revealed for who he is, that he is the Son of God. So the psalmist calls us to live together in unity. It's a beautiful thing. It represents God well. Jesus reinforces that. And then I just want to close with this thought out of Romans 12. The Apostle Paul also calls us to live in unity. And he says it, though, in this way. He says, if it is possible, as far as it depends on you, live at peace with everyone. So I just want to ask you as we close here this morning, is there anyone within the faith community, in your small group, in your church family, some other believers that you're not in unity with? As much as it depends on you, is there something that you can do, something you can pray about, forgiveness you can offer in some other way? Move towards this thing that Jesus said in John 17 represents him, brings glory to him, what the psalmist calls good and pleasant. May God help us to be people who value one another and value the unity of the body of Christ. God bless you.